What's going on? Is Anton from antondaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. About to head into the studio so that we can get it started for the Millionaire Morning Show. First and foremost, I just want to wish a happy birthday to my wife, Rita. And then tomorrow I'll be wishing a happy birthday to my daughter, Leslie. So shout out to them back to back. I remember actually her being pregnant, us getting home from dinner, about to go to sleep, and then her water broke. And then we had to head straight to the hospital. So shout out to you. Known you since high school. I don't want to get into a whole soliloquy, but shout out to my wife and her birthday. It's been awesome, absolutely awesome. Aside from that, I really want to deep dive into this job market because obviously yesterday on the Millionaire Morning Show, I reported that United Healthcare is looking to lay off or voluntarily buy out at least 30,000 people. United Healthcare has about 440,000 employees worldwide. So that is less than 10% of their entire workforce, but it is still a significant amount of people. A lot of the people that are getting bought out or getting the offer to where they can get bought out is, phone service reps, all of those type of people, call center reps and all of that. The demand for that obviously has went down significantly, and it's ironic because when I seen all of the people that were complaining about Luigi, the Luigi Margione person, player number 2 that took out the CEO of the subsidiary of United Healthcare, nobody really had any concern for the employees, and now everybody want to start having a conversation. But neither here nor there. So they're going to offer the buyout. Hopefully they can get a significant amount of people to take the buyout so that they don't have to do mandatory layoffs. You got to figure that out for yourself. The Trump administration, obviously, via Elon Musk, who's going through and figuring out whether or not these departments actually need to exist or not, and uncovering all of the waste and the fraud through Doge, is also laying off after offering all 2 million plus employees, which is significant. That is a lot of employees, honestly, to be employed by the federal government. And that don't even have anything to do with the local municipalities, the local governments, the state on the state level and all of that stuff. So it's interesting to see how we've ballooned the federal government up to over 2 million people that are basically being subsidized and paid for by taxpayers. Now, obviously, what's flooding my email box via you guys is all of the layoff videos, which we will go through some of them, was all of the layoff videos of the people sitting there crying and complaining and talking about how much value they added and they were a part of the agricultural budget and forestry and science and data researching animals and all of this other stuff and conservation. But like any private company, because you should not be protected just like anybody else, it's got to be based off of whether or not we actually generating the revenue. And the interesting thing about all of this is the federal government is a business. It's the reason why you have a job. It is a business. And the one thing that Democrats and Republicans alike historically have always advocated for is smaller government, less bureaucratic red tape, less diversity, equity, and inclusion. But until recently, it's only been Republicans. And now it's Democrats that think that we need a bloated government, even though we got $36 trillion of debt, even though we paying over $1 to 2 trillion, not million, $1 trillion in interest on a yearly basis for $36 trillion in debt and ballooning. And y'all don't think that we need to right size the government. The only reason that people are complaining is because it's hitting them. The only reason people are complaining is because it's hitting them. But now I think that we're going to see 3 things, all right? We're going to see, in addition to the right sizing of the government and a smaller government and a more efficient government, hopefully we start to see a budget surplus. We're going to have to incentivize businesses, big and small, to build here in the United States of America via tax cuts and tariffs. Now, it's a 2-level strategy, right? We need to right size the government to make sure that we don't have a whole lot of money going out the door. And we need to privatize a lot of this stuff, which obviously that comes in with private business other companies and more companies to invest inside of the United States of America, because we should not be dependent on the federal government in order for us to have jobs. We should 100% be operating efficiently and creating jobs through small businesses and an organic economy that would allow for us to actually be great, which leads us to the second thing. We need more small businesses, and people are going to be forced to create jobs for themselves. What does that mean? So let's just say, for example, and I always like to use this example on the Millionaire Morning Show. You guys really need to tune in. Let's say, for example, we talk about the Chinese food restaurant, right? And everybody has been in a space where you've seen the local Chinese food restaurant, not the Panda Express, not the, whatever the large chain, whatever that is. I'm talking about the mom and pop Chinese store restaurant. And what happens is they don't create a business so that they can pass it on to their kids. No, often at times they work those jobs and they don't necessarily hire anybody else but their day in and day out. They may shut down for 2 weeks of the year in order to visit Maine, homeland China, and stuff like that. But for the most part, every single day, 7 days a week, they work those jobs. They grind, they hustle, and that is the way they're able to sustain their lifestyle. They've created a job for themselves. Most small businesses are opportunities for people to create jobs for themselves, not intergenerational wealth. That is the biggest myth, and you're going to find it out because in order for people to survive, they're going to have to get creative and create jobs for themselves, which lead me to point number 3. You're going to see more people, more women specifically, because I see women that are largely affected more than anything. And I said this also, I've been preaching this to the mountaintops. I said during the 2008 crisis, during the pandemic, so on and so forth, women are largely the ones that are most affected by layoffs. And especially when you talk about the federal government, because they went into what they thought was a safe space, and also diversity, equity, and inclusion played a role in a lot of these women's lives and their roles. And so what you'll now see is women going back home. Yep, they're going to reset. They got that reset dial on the inside of them. And some of them are going to just do the things that they love. They're going to find their purpose. People are going to be more incentive to depend on their household and their husband, which put a little bit more pressure on men to be masculine, but that's okay because that's what we built for. And women are not going to want to get out here and hustle and bustle unless you absolutely have to. Gig economy going to be booming, but it's going to be more competition than ever. DoorDash, Instacart, Uber, Lyft, all of those things, it's going to be more competitive than ever. But in addition to that, you're going to see a reset. The great reset is not just with jobs. It's going to be in the housing market. We see the DC housing market is starting to crash. We're going to get into that on a later vlog. But jobs will be a luxury. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Having a job, not just any job, but a job that gives you benefits, health care, which is your total compensation package, all of those things, it is going to be a luxury. It is not going to be something that you take for granted anymore. People used to say, oh my God, I require this and I can't believe that. All of that is going to change. Our cultural norms are going to change forever. You're going to see this. There's going to be some storming and then it's going to be some norming over the next 2 years, and everything will go back to normal and people are going to suffer a little bit, but we need to make sure that we get that federal budget in order, and we need to have a budget surplus instead of a deficit. We need to make sure that we incentivize companies to continue to build and create jobs inside of the United States of America, and people are going to have to create for themselves. But these ultra high luxury jobs with all of the perks and you get to work from home and all of that, that's gone. It's out the door. That's going to be a luxury that is allocated just for the greatest and the best of the best. And that is not going to be something that you just inherently expect because that's just what we do inside of our economy. I think that women are going to go back home. They're going to rely more on being mothers and being stay-at-home moms and just adding value around the house and maybe helping the husband's business and all of that stuff. But all of this, crying and complaining and talking all of this nonsense and all of this talk back, yeah, that's all gone. That's all gone. It's going to be a competition for great men. That's what it's really going to be. But again, that's a whole nother conversation too. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Also, Teach Henley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. And again, happy birthday to Rita, my baby. And make sure y'all tap into the Millionaire Morning Show today. We're going to have some uncomfortable conversations. We're going to break down some things that's going on inside of the culture and society. And shout out to Canada. I see y'all over there across the river. Y'all want to see Canada? That's the river, Canada. Shout out to Canada. All of that is Canada. Shout out to Windsor, Canada, Toronto, Vancouver, all of that. We like y'all. We like y'all. We like y'all Governor Trudeau also. Shout out to Governor Trudeau. But anyways, I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. Peace.